Hi everybody, I'm Don Dickson, and I want to thank you for joining me for another little session of our talks that we've been having on how to successfully catch more and bigger fish. We're in the midst of a discussion of the proper tools and what's needed to go out there on the lake and actually catch those fish. But I'm going to sort of take a little sidetrack today. I'm going to move away from that just for a little bit, just for a few minutes, because I feel it's necessary to address a few things. And the first one is this. I've been getting a lot of emails. There's been a lot of comments being made. And the question keeps coming in to our address as to whether or not Don Dickson is alive. Many of the people have been saying things like, well, I see there's some old video there, but looks like there's some new, and we're not sure whether or not he's dead or alive. And there's been 4 or 5 comments where people said, well, we heard he died years ago. Well, in the illustrious words of Mark Twain, I'm here to tell you that those early reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. I am not dead. I am alive. So I thought, okay, I better prove it to my listeners out there to let them know that this isn't something that was shot. These videos weren't shot 25 years ago or 50 years ago or 70 years ago. They were shot yesterday and the day before. And in order to prove that, I just had this idea, thinking back on all of the Alfred Hitchcock movies. When someone would get kidnapped, the way they would prove that they were alive, they would have that kidnapped person hold up a newspaper with today's date on it, which is what I'm doing. June 18th, 2018. The Orlando Sentinel. And I'm Don Dickson. So you see, and I don't have to quote Mark Twain, I can also quote John Wayne, one of my favorite guys. He made a movie called Big Jake. And in that movie, he was a pretty tough guy like he always was. But in that movie, all of the bad guys that he ran into, they all had the first comment to him. They would always say, you're Big Jake McCandles. I heard you are dead. And everybody he ran into, they said the same thing. Well, we heard you died years ago. So I'm going to give you his response to all of that when it comes to Don Dickson. Is he dead? Not hardly. That was Big Jake's reply. Not hardly. I'm not dead. And the good news for me is that I know God has a plan for me. He knew when I started, and he knows my end. But the Bible teaches me that I don't have any promise of tomorrow. So I'm not sure, I'm not sure how long I have to go. But I can tell you this. I come from a long line of long livers. Most all of my family lived into the late 90s. I actually had an Uncle Charlie who was driving a car on the highway when he was 100. So I come from a long line of long livers, which the way I like to think about things is I probably have another 20, 25 years to go. So as long as you're interested in listening and letting me share with you all of my experiences over my 40-year career in fishing, I'm going to be happy to be doing it. So I hope that you realize once and for all, I'm alive. This is today. Yesterday was Father's Day, which brings me to one other thing I want to clear up before I leave you today. My son has been getting a lot of friend requests by a bunch of fishermen. He said, Dad, I believe some of the fishermen out there believe that I'm you. He said they keep requesting, friend requests to my Facebook page. He said, now how in the world that they even could for 1 second believe that I am you when there's clearly a 30-year difference in our ages? It's beyond me. He said, but they do. So I thought I'd mention to you, I do in fact have an older son. I have 2 sons. And yesterday was a reminder to me how great it is to be a father and have 2 good sons. Not 1 good one and 1 bad one. I have 2 good ones. And they grew up fishing. They grew up in the outdoors with their daddy. And I think I'm going to do a video sometime pretty soon about the importance of getting kids fishing. But yesterday when we were having our little shindig, Father's Day, I was just reminded that what a privilege it is to be a father, and how lucky and how fortunate I've been with my 2 sons. Now, they both fish. They both love fishing. They've both caught all species of fish. And they started when they were very young. However, my older boy, he also likes to fish in the salt. And I had some recent comments and questions about how maybe the fishing got so tough in freshwater that I switched over to salt. I have not. I love freshwater fishing. I'm a bass guy. I've mentioned that to you before. And that's never going to change. But do I occasionally fish a little salt with him? Some of the tidal rivers he likes to fish? Sure I do. And I think I mentioned the last time we talked, I'm going to be going out with a friend, Tim Moore's, doing some grouper fishing next week. So occasionally I'll do some of that. But my real love and my interest and my conversations with you, it's all about freshwater stuff. I know I live in Florida, but all of my career in fishing was all over the United States. I hardly ever did much in Florida. Most of my stuff was Midwest, Upper Midwest, Northeast, Texas. I was everywhere but home most of the time. But at any rate, none of that's changed. But when you see my son's, he went and changed it. My wife's advised him to change his name on his Facebook page to Donnie Dickson. So he has made that change. So don't mistake him for me. It hurts his feelings. But he's a pretty good fisherman. And like I said, my kids make me proud. And I just wanted to clear that up. First, I'm not dead. Secondly, I don't plan on dying anytime soon. I should mention, too, I had a rotator cuff done about 4 years ago. I think too many casts. It finally gave out. But I had a great surgeon, Dr. Mitchell here locally. He's terrific. He's known at ESPN. They've talked about him. He's a great surgeon. And as you can see, he fixed me up. I'm good. I'm back casting. But other than that, I'm a pretty healthy guy. I still have both my real knees, and I have a gym membership. And to me, it's important to be healthy, stay healthy, live your life to the fullest, and be able to have some quality of life. And to me, quality of life means going fishing. So I'm doing everything I can do to stay out there on the water. And the next time we get to talk, I'm going to be talking, we're going to get back on subject. I'm going to be discussing boats and motors. And this is an important topic, important discussion. So I can't wait to get with you on that, but I just wanted to clear these few questions up. And my wife and I have decided, because of all of the hundreds of questions we're getting, it's really hard to try to answer them in writing, because many of the questions deserve, an answer that might fill up a 2-page letter. So we had the idea that for our subscribers, in the very near future, we're going to start doing maybe once a month. We're going to field questions from the field. We're going to maybe do an hour video every month, taking questions from you folks, any question you have, and we're going to answer that on video. Now, this little idea, this little forum that we're going to have, a Q&A once a month, we're going to be using your questions, not questions that I make up. Buck used to have a deal in his material where he said, these are the questions you should be asking. But I found out in all of my travels and all of my lectures, everybody had a personal question that was something that was really bugging them that they didn't understand. And if you don't have the answer, if you don't know the answer, then it's never a dumb question. It's a good question. And I want to get all of those questions answered. That's my idea with this. So you'll be able to send your questions via messaging us on our Facebook. You can send it to my email, or you can have your question be in the form of a comment on the YouTube channel. But as we receive your questions, once a month we're going to do this, and this is going to be for our subscribers. That's the idea. And of course, my entire idea of doing these vlogs in the first place is to help you catch more and bigger fish. So I want you to send us that question, the question that you don't have the answer to. Send us that question via one of those 3 outlets that we just mentioned. And we're going to get to answering it for you. So thanks for joining me today. And until the next time we meet, like us on Facebook and be sure to subscribe to our channel if you have not already. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll talk to you the next time.